she'd kept painting them, these girls, from memory, her mind delivering flashing snapshots just when she thought she'd finally forgotten their sorrow, their doomed fate. She'd thought then, as she often had over the past 20 years, of running back to Eamon, back to the island after all this time gone, decades now. But instead, as soon as she'd escaped almost paradise, she'd painted Eamon's honeysuckle bonsai from memory, in one fevered post-Y2K, post-Wedding of the Maidens session. She'd named the honeysuckle painting In Eden, and when it had gone out in a small traveling art tour, on an impulse she hadn't been able to halt, she'd sent Eamon a copy of the show's magazine, along with a packet of the painted girls. But she'd never heard anything back. She couldn't blame him. Not after her sudden abandonment so long ago. But she had despaired following each empty mailbox day. In Eden was the only subject matter departure of the show. Derek had hung it by itself in the back alcove, said people would buy the others, all the girls, just because of it. And he'd been right. The honeysuckle calling its children home, seed pod babies cradled tight in its roots. The show had been the success Derek had predicted from the start. He'd toasted Isabelle before he'd left, leaned close, said, "I told you so," his face brushing her hair, his lips grazing her cheek. A man young enough to be her child, smitten with a sorrow that didn't belong to him. Isabelle went back to the alcove and sat on the bench herself, studying the lovers' bodies in the honeysuckle's trunk, each one mirroring the other. "To you, Eamon," she said, finally, lifting her glass. Derek had tried to put the honeysuckle painting up for sale, too, said it would bring top dollar, but Isabelle told him it wasn't hers to sell, that she needed to take it to its rightful owner. She stood and gently lifted it off the wall. "It's time to go home," she said. She gave her apartment one last check, a cleaned-out fridge, emptied cupboards, a tidily made bed, and bare wood floors. An old lady's Spartan domicile. She didn't know when she'd be back, or if she would ever be. She was tired of trying to pacify people who would never understand. People from a world where you could live happily ever after. A world where a mother didn't give up her firstborn daughter, her only child. A world where virgin child brides weren't given over to a 50-some-year-old man to impregnate for his end-of-the-world new millennium and told that it was God's will. A world where you didn't bury pregnant girls or their stillborn babies under a cult's palaver tree, declaring it divinity, heaven just another form of the girl's hell. She grabbed an age-softened flannel shirt and flattened it against the bed, smoothing the creases before folding it for packing. A thing kept for so long. When she'd been going through the apartment before the show, she'd found it in the far reaches of the back cupboard. And when she'd pulled it out, there it was, still caught in the shirt's folds after all these years, the island's damp musk and cedar. A hint of salt air. She buried her nose in the shirt and inhaled. Even in summer, the island's fog had chilled her. Trawler Island. So long ago. She thought of the young woman she'd been then and wanted to go back. Tell her to stay. Her suitcase packed, everything ready, Isabelle went to the bathroom and pinned her hair back, looking at herself in the mirror. The network of spider lines around her eyes, the softness along her once distinct jawline, her hair turned from bright auburn to streaks of silver and gold. She opened the box on the counter and folded back the tissue inside. She'd kept Eamon's marriage present all this time. Honeysuckle bonsai earrings. His beautiful tree cut out in profile on wooden circles, its sweeping canopy painted green, the lovers still visible in its trunk. She fit the earrings carefully.